Hello, my name is Ashley, and I'm currently a graduate student at the University of Florida in the PR theory course. Today, I'm going to be diving into a really important question that kind of sits at the heart of how we understand and practice PR, which is, does PR have a dominant theory? And if it does, what is it? And if it doesn't, where should PR theory be headed? So we're going to explore some foundational theories, talk about what's working, what's not working, and look ahead at how we can evolve the field to better match the world we're communicating in today. So to start with a quick overview of PR theories, let's just take a quick look at the theoretical landscape. So over the years, several key theories have shaped how PR is taught, practiced, and understood. First, there's the excellence theory, which is probably the most widely recognized, and it promotes the idea of PR as a strategic management tool that can truly contribute to organizational effectiveness. Then we have the systems theory, which looks at how organizations interact with and adapt to their environments, and it highlights the importance of feedback and open communication channels. Third, we have the situational theory of publics, and this is all about how different publics respond depending on their awareness and involvement in an issue. And it's really useful when you're trying to figure out who to engage and how. And finally, we have relationship management theory, which views PR as a relationship building function. Here, it's less about broadcasting and more about two-way engagement with key stakeholders. All of these theories offer valuable insights, but do any of them truly dominate the field? We will find out. So when people talk about a dominant theory in PR, they often point to the excellence theory, which was developed by Grunig and Hunt back in the 1980s. And this theory for the time was really groundbreaking. It emphasized strategic communication, ethical practice, and the value of two-way symmetrical communication. It's been incredibly influential over the years, especially in corporate and academic settings, and it's become somewhat of a gold standard in PR education. But like anything, it is not without criticism. One of the most commonly criticized parts of the excellence theory is that it's based largely on Western, especially American, organizational models. So when you try to apply it in a more like collectivist culture or even in a non-corporate setting like activism or community-based PR, it doesn't always fit. Also, it was developed in a pre-digital era, and the way we communicate and the way publics engage back with us has changed dramatically. So while excellence theory remains really important, its dominance is definitely being questioned. Which brings us to a key issue, which is, can one theory really capture the diversity and complexity of PR today? So we're working in a world that is more global, more multicultural, more digitally connected than ever, and cultural values vary widely. So what resonates in one country might be completely tone deaf in another. On top of that, digital disruption has really changed the game. Audiences are fragmented across platforms, algorithms curate largely what people see, and in these days, anyone can be a content creator. So these realities really challenge the idea that one theory, for example, the excellence theory, can serve all situations. And instead, I think we're seeing a shift towards a more flexible, inclusive, and even contextual approach to theory. So where's PR theory going? I think one exciting development is the dialogic theory, which moves away from one-way messaging and instead it really encourages true open dialogue. This theory values mutual understanding and ongoing conversations between both the organizations and the publics. We also have postmodern perspective. This one questions the very idea of objective truth or like a singular narrative. It's really useful when you're dealing with a polarized public or like a complex social issue where messaging isn't just about facts, but it's also largely about emotions, identity, power. And speaking of power, we also have the critical and cultural theories. So these dig into how PR shapes and reflects societal power structures, and they really challenge us to consider whose voices are being amplified, whose voices are being left out. And these theories are especially relevant when you're working on issues like social justice or equity and representation. So I think while excellence theory gave us a very solid foundation, these sort of newer perspectives are helping us meet the challenges of today's dynamic landscape. So, of course, technology has become a massive player in PR, and frankly, most traditional theories I don't think are equipped to deal with it. When we think about the rise of digital communication, especially algorithmic communication, we think, the content people see is filtered by platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, etc. And that adds a whole new layer between communicators and audiences. And then, of course, there's AI. So, whether it's a chatbot or content generator or predictive analytics, these tools are all changing how we, engage with stakeholders, and they're also raising really big questions. So, one question that I think about often is, can a relationship built through automation still be considered authentic? I think right now, current PR theories don't really have the answers to these questions yet, so there's a big opportunity, and I think a need, for scholars like us to develop new frameworks and take our digital realities seriously. So, if no single theory really captures everything, then what is the solution? I believe we need a more hybrid model, one that takes, parts of existing theories and blends them with newer, more critical and global perspectives. And I think that means keeping the strategic thinking of excellence theory, but also including the relational focus from dialogic and relationship management theories. I think we need to make room for cultural and postmodern critiques that help us understand different voices and contexts. And I think a good hybrid model would also adapt to technology. So developing the ways to measure trust, engagement, and impact in digital and AI-driven spaces. So in other words, I think the future of PR isn't really about finding the one, but rather about building a more flexible and inclusive and even responsive toolkit. So to wrap things up, here's what I've come to believe. I think while excellence theory has played a major role in shaping the PR field, I don't think it's sufficient on its own any longer. The world has changed culturally, technology, and socially, and I think our theories need to evolve too. So we may not have a single dominant theory anymore, and maybe that's a good thing, but PR is too diverse for a one size fits all approach. I think as future practitioners and scholars, it's up to us to think critically, to draw from multiple perspectives, and to help shape the next generation of PR theory, one that's inclusive, ethical, and future ready. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this gave you a clear and thoughtful look at where PR theory stands and where it might go next. And these are the references that I used to inform my presentation.